All right, good morning, everybody. It is 9:05 a.m. on October 14th, and this is a regularly scheduled meeting of the Oil Conservation Commission. I'm Adrienne Sandoval. I'm the chair of the Oil Conservation Commission and director of the Oil Conservation Division. Also today, would the other commissioners introduce themselves for the record, please?
Madam Chair, thank you. Good morning. I'm Greg Bloom. I'm the representative of the Commissioner of Public Land, Stephanie Garcia Richard. Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Terry Warnell, representing IMNRD.
Ms. Morganweck, were you trying to say something?
Yeah, I'm having trouble hearing. It's crackling, like it's breaking up.
For whom, Mr. Bloom?
Yes, the first one who spoke.
If I lean in more, is that better?
Yeah, that was more clear.
Okay, good. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'll remember to lean in more when I speak. And I just introduced myself as the designee of the Commissioner of Public Lands. Okay.
Thank you. Also with us today is counsel to the commission, Chris Moander, and clerk to the commission, Florine Davidson. All right. First item of the agenda is approval of the agenda. I want to note several modifications that have been made to the agenda. In agenda item number 6, which is de novo case number 21744, that has been continued to the November docket. And in case number 21324, which was agenda item number 7, that was also continued to the January 13th, 2020 meeting. So the commission will be hearing agenda item number 4 and taking final action on agenda item number 5, with 6 and 7 continued to a later date. With that, is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
I move to adopt the agenda.
Sorry?
No. Madam Chair, I move to adopt the agenda.
Is there a second?
Madam Chair, I second that motion.
Thank you. Mr. Moander, would you do a roll call vote, please?
Yes, Madam Chair. Commissioner Bloom?
Approved.
Commissioner Warnell?
Yes, approved.
Madam Chair?
Approved.
Motion passes.
Okay. Let's see. Next item on the agenda is approval of the September 28th, 2021 minutes. Is there a motion to adopt and approve the minutes from September 28th?
I move to adopt and approve the minutes from the previous meeting.
I second that motion.
Mr. Moander?
Yes, Madam Chair. Commissioner Bloom?
Approved.
Commissioner Warnell?
Yes, approved.
Madam Chair?
Approved.
The motion passes.
Thank you. All right, next item on the agenda is case number 22225. Lots of twos there. Application of the Energy, Minerals, and Natural Resources Department Oil Conservation Division for proposed amendments to 1915-28. And the commission will be reviewing the request to grant a hearing on this rulemaking. Do we have a representative from the division?
We do, Madam Chair. Cheryl Beta with the Oil Conservation Division.
Thank you. Are there any other parties in this matter?
Madam Chair, members of the Commission, my name is Michael Felderwert with the Santa Fe office of Holland and Hart, appearing on behalf of the New Mexico Oil and Gas Association.
Thank you. Are there any other parties? Okay. Ms. Beta, would you like to make a statement about the petition?
The Oil Conservation Division filed the application to propose technical corrections to 1915-28, specifically Section 8, subsection F, to correct an incorrect natural gas calculation, and to amend Section 10B to correct an internal citation and clarify provisions application to gathering systems.
Thank you. Mr. Feldowert, do you have any comments you'd wish to make?
Madam Chair, members of the commission, NMOGA does not oppose the technical corrections that Ms. Beta outlined.
Thank you. Do any of the commissioners have questions for Ms. Beta? No? Okay.
No questions.
No questions, Madam Chair.
All right. So I guess the next piece of this is going to be setting a date and lining out the procedures for the rulemaking hearing. Okay, so Mr. Moander, I'm just thinking of what is so there is a public register deadline of today. Ms. Beta, is the Oil Conservation Division prepared to submit today to be published on the 26th?
That depends if there's a WebEx link. I've checked with the division and there's a PO, so I think the only thing that would need to be inserted unless council or the commission has other thoughts is that the date for the hearing and the WebEx link would need to be inserted into the notice so that it can be submitted.
Got it.
One question I've got, Ms. Beta, this is Chris Moander. Have you, this stuff always makes the attorneys nervous with the register deadlines. Have you brought to the attention of anyone over at the register that this notice and so on may be forthcoming?
I do not know if OCD has sent it over. My understanding is the next hearing that would be possible would be December 9th. And when I was looking the other day, it looks like we may have one other opportunity to submit.
I'm a little confused, Ms. Veda. So I think right now, I think Madam Chair is focused on
Day, but
well, the issue will be is that if things can't be submitted today,
right,
such that they're published on the 26th, then that sets us back probably into mid-December for the hearing. And Madam Chair, that might be something else to look at here. Is if we're talking about, I'm assuming we're going to stick with 30-day notice and probably comment period because this is not a big rulemaking. Then the question would be like, if we don't get it, if we get it posted on the 26th, that's going to set us probably around Thanksgiving if we kept the deadlines real tight. Let's just say for the sake of argument that the publication date ends up being November 9th, then that pushes us into mid-December. And I can tell you that in terms of what's going on with a lot of rulemaking across the state right now, and it's voluminous, that even mid-December, that'll be a busy time, but I think it'll be better than, say, trying to shoehorn this in. But we could get it in the last week of November, I think would be doable. But last week of November. So we want to know, actually, I'm wrong. It would be the 29th through December 3rd would be the week we probably end up having the hearing, and that's not terrible. But I just want to get that out there for discussion because this 2-week turnaround frequently jams things up, and I don't want that to happen here. So really the question is, I mean, what is the realistic chance that the notice and everything gets submitted to the register today? And it sounds like for Ms. Beta, we just need the dates of the hearing and then would need a WebEx link. And who's going to generate the WebEx link? You will, and Madam
I'm the
Chair,
WebEx czar.
is that going to be feasible for you today?
Yes, absolutely. I could do it at the,
All right.
assuming the commission makes a decision today, I could do it
Right.
at the conclusion of today's meeting.
And let me run just a quick calculation here, because if we're wrong on this, it could just set this back even further. And like if there is an error or an issue in getting this stuff to the register, we're going to end up having to come back, do a reschedule, and no one's going to be happy with that. So let's see here.
Well, you're looking at dates for the other commissioners. Are we interested in, so the normal scheduled OCC date is for the 9th. I guess I'm wondering, I believe we have a couple other items at the moment on that docket. There will be potentially the Cimarex de novo case, and then Ms. Davidson, are you on the line? And could you remind the commission what's currently on that December 9th docket?
The line on ninth docket is
Hear you, ma'am.
application of Spur Energy, de novo compulsory cooling case, and that
Ms. Davidson, could you move closer to your microphone?
MX hearing. Part of the hearing de novo on that might be scheduled for December 9th. I think that's going to be December 9th.
Oh,
Ms. Davidson, I don't think it's super hard to hear you.
We have that's up now. We have no Spur Energy compulsory cooling plus the Colgate Cimarex hearing evidentiary hearing for December 9th.
I caught the Colgate Cimarex. Was there any other?
Spur Energy Partners compulsory cooling.
It sounds like we have another compulsory pooling on December 9th.
Right.
Okay. I guess thoughts from the commissioners. Sometimes those compulsory pooling cases can take a while. So we might want to potentially look at a special date.
Chair, I'd be fine with that. Just pulling this out, doing it on a special date, dealing with it on its own, and then it would make the December 9th regular schedule, that much lighter. I'm absolutely fine with that.
Okay.
I'm good either way. I'm good.
Okay. Mr. Moander, how are the potential dates looking?
all
And
right.
we
So
can
just
pick a
going
day.
through the quick math on this, assuming publication, and I'm really proud of the fact I'm doing math as a lawyer. It always makes me feel good. But October 26th publication date gets us 30 days on November 25th. If there's a November 9th publication date, that sets us to the 30-day runs on 12/9 on December 9th. So I think the risk we're running here is that if for some reason, and I think everyone acknowledges these things can and do happen, we don't get the publication stuff in on by close of business today, and we try to set a hearing before essentially December 10th, then that's going to result in us all having to come back and reschedule this. So in an abundance of caution, I'm going to suggest we need to look at 12/10 or later, just to be on the safe side.
How do we feel about 2 days of hearings? Or I guess the regularly scheduled OCC on the 9th and then the special meeting on the 10th. I am available on the 10th.
And Chair, I would also, maybe we could consider is the December 16th, the following Thursday. I know we're maybe getting a little closer to the holidays there, but is another option, but I could make the 10th work as well.
Hold on, let me look at. I have something that spans sort of mid that week.
And I need to chime in. I am actually in another agency's rulemaking on the 10th.
Okay.
I will not be available.
I guess one question, if I can, for Miss Beta. Are there any, because this is a technical change with some of the calculation methods, are there any time implications that the commission needs to be aware of in scheduling this?
Not that I'm aware of. I think it would just depend if the OCD's witness is available those days.
Okay. So you're in something the 10th, Mr. Moander?
Yes, I've got another rulemaking that literally was just scheduled yesterday.
I should be back for the 16th. So that would work for me. Commissioner Warnell?
Yeah, Madam Chair, the 16th works just fine for me.
I think we got ourselves a date.
Madam Chair, this is Michael Felderwart. The only thing I note is the 16th is a division hearing docket. I'm assuming that that's not going to be a problem with court reporters.
That is
Thank
a
you for
good.
pointing that out, Mr. Feldwart.
Have to do something today.
We all serve our purpose, right?
And Madam Chair, I'm open that whole week of the 15th through the 19th.
The week of the 15th through the 19th.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the, damn it, wrong one.
13th through
Too
the
many-
17th.
Yeah, 13th through the 17th. I'm available, and God forbid we end up looking at it, I can make myself available early the following week.
The 16th or the 17th that week would be better for me.
Do the 17th, Friday is fine.
17th will work.
17th it is. We've got a date for the dance. Okay, so now that we have dates, which I think gives OCD some cushion in case it cannot get filed today. Let's then, I'm fine since, or I guess maybe this is a question, Mr. Moore, or like if it does get filed today, is it like the comment period would be extended, or do we need to set like a hard time frame today, don't we?
Yes, I would recommend we set that stuff in, at least on paper today. That would be prudent, and I think it'll be helpful in managing this, because it in either case, the commission could open. Well, I mean, the issue will be public comment could be open, all but starting today, even if the commission wants. The issue will be is the public won't necessarily have notice of this, but so long as we hit the 30 days, anything greater than that, I think should be fine, because it's the key is to have the 30 days preserved.
Okay.
One question, I had just to save the date on December 2nd, I think for the same purpose. but I want to make sure it wasn't something else. I don't know if anyone there has a calendar or if you have anything on your calendar, Madam Chair. Otherwise, I'll get rid of that and open up that ballot
Don't
calendar.
think we have anything on the 2nd. I don't.
Okay, then we're fine. I'll get rid of that. I don't know why it was on there. I just didn't reserve that for this venting and flaring methane rule correction.
Commissioner Bloom, this is Michael Felderwart. I looked at the file online for this case, and there was a notice, I guess it looked like it was a draft notice of hearing that had December 2nd on there. So that may be why you had it on your calendar. And I'm not sure how the draft got into the division file. I don't know if maybe, Cheryl, if it was attached to your application or what, but that is in the division file actually after we entered an appearance. So it was separately placed in the file subsequent to that.
At some point, the Madam Chair, and Commissioners, do you recall whether it was proposed that the hearing be on the 2nd?
I don't recall that. I guess that's why I was sort of asking, are there any dates that we need to keep in mind in terms of like, are there like implications down the line if we like wait too long to have it, because it is a calculation methodology in that rule? Are there any like dates that come into play? I mean, I can do the 2nd, but that would mean that we have to get things filed today.
Right.
And it increases the risk that we end up having to come back at a special meeting or the November meeting to reschedule all of this.
Which would push it back even further.
Correct, which is why I'm encouraging the December 17th to make sure that we have play in the joints here if something goes wrong.
Okay.
Madam Chair and Commissioners, the correction needs to be in place for the gas capture reporting date.
And what is that date?
Don't know off the top of my head.
Is that for the baseline?
That's the baseline.
You have to, your baseline is going to come after the 2nd quarterly report. The 2nd quarterly report is due May 15th-ish.
Should be.
I have it here. Let's see. This beginning October 1, operators shall gather data and submit by February 15th, 2022.
That's going to be your first quarterly report. The 2nd quarterly report is going to be due in May, and those 2 quarterly reports together are going to be your baseline. So I think the baseline is going to be due in May.
May 15th. There it is.
So then I would think if we have a hearing in mid-December, Mr. Moander, I mean, depending on appeal or any of those components, we should have this published and finalized well in advance of May.
Yes, I think that's a safe assumption that
Okay.
we'll have this finalized, because if well, let me ask that this will have an impact. Does the commission wish to proceed directly to deliberation upon completion of the parties' cases in chief? Well, let me rephrase that. On completion of the closing of the evidentiary record.
That's traditionally how the commission has done rulemakings, with the exception of the original waste rulemaking, which was a behemoth.
Okay, so that shortens the time, and then orders can be entered. And say, I never say anything never could happen, because that's inviting disaster, but that May is a pretty easily accommodated deadline for publication. So I think
then the order would be taken into consideration, a final order in that January date.
Right. And then at that point, everything gets funneled over for publication and entry. So I
Okay.
think we should be okay, even if there's a 30-day or so turnaround there. Because there's also the thing to keep in mind is the commission's rules have a 20-day rehearing or petition for rehearing window. So whatever we have to always have to add the 20 days plus how maybe another 30 to get it published, depending on the issue. So that still puts us way ahead of schedule for the May reporting deadline.
Okay. Great. Well, I think it sounds like the 17th is the best date. So now we need to line out the rules of engagement. It does appear to be a pretty minor technical change. I would be fine with like the standard 30-day comment period. But I guess if it did, Mr. Morander, so if it does get published, so let's just assume that it gets published on, there's so many days here moving. It gets published on November 9th. How many days would that be to the?
Let me, I've got this website that does all this stuff for me, which is kind of funny. So you want to determine if we got a publication date of November 9th.
Yep.
How many days would that be to the hearing? So
Yep.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, if I'm calculating right, the 8th of December is 30 days.
So we got two options here, and I think Ms. Beta's right. If we just say I like putting a few extra days in or recommend those to the comment period just to be on the safe side. If the hearing's on December 17th and 35 days before to allow a little room there because of the holidays, I think that's reasonable and would recommend that. Comment period could open Friday, November 12th. The total days between a publication date of the 9th, the latest of the two, and December 17th would give us 38 days, which is roughly the same. And so I figure start opening comments, public comment on 11/9, and then closing on what, the 16th, or no, is it the 17th? That would be enough. Of course, the issue is that and I'd have to look back at the rules. I don't think written public comment period has to go into the first day if it's a single day rule hearing. So we could close it off on the 16th.
I think we want written comment to close on the 16th because we've had
Okay.
this problem before.
Yes, we have.
So written comment, we probably want to close on the 16th, but we will take verbal public comment on the 17th.
Correct. So to recap, the written public comment period will initiate on 11/9/21 and close at 5 o'clock on 12/16/21.
Okay. Commissioners, does that make sense to you? That's above the standard 30 days, but if it's already published, I think it makes sense to give the extra time with the holiday in there.
Chair, yes, that makes sense. Just one question. I just want to make be absolutely sure on this point. I remember when we were doing the spill rule, I believe it was that we had to keep the written comment period open until the beginning of the proceedings on that day, if I recall correctly.
I'm not totally convinced of that, but I don't think I recognize the concern that the commission, if a bunch of, let's just say, 500 written comments come in from the opening of the hearing through the close, it makes adjudication impossible that day. I don't think that's likely. But yeah, I don't know that I agree with that assessment of the rule, but if we want to be cautious, we could certainly do that. I can dig up the rule and take another look if the commission wants to move on to discussing technical testimony. That's fine as well. If you want to give me a minute just to take one more look
Sure.
to be sure.
Yeah, we can wrap everything up with a motion at the end, and we will need to wrap everything up with a motion at the end anyway. Okay, so while he looks up that, all right, so we need to determine, I'm looking at some of the old procedural orders. What we've done in the past is asked for people to sign up ahead of time for times if possible. This is, I think, a little bit smaller of a rulemaking than the past, but I don't know what, there could still be significant public interest. I guess what we've done, I think, is asked people if they want to sign up for a specific time, and then we set aside specific times to do that. So we could do, like, at the beginning of the hearing, 9 to 9:30. We would probably want to do it at the beginning of the date if we're looking at deliberating potentially at the end of the day. So we would want to have public comment up front. And then provide an opportunity maybe at lunch or before we close the record as well.
Chair, I agree.
That sounds fine.
Okay, so maybe let's start the day. I think we should also, if they want to specify a time, sign up with the commission clerk, and we can try to accommodate some specific times. But then we'll hold it open for anybody else who wishes to come. So maybe let's set aside 9 to 10 a.m. on the 17th. But I want to be clear that if there are not enough people to fill that time slot, that we can go ahead and start the technical testimony. And we don't just sit there.
Agreed. Yes.
Okay. So 9 to 10 public comment, sign up with commission clerk, probably by 5 p.m. on the 16th. To try to accommodate like specific time slots, and then we'll just leave it open any other time.
Madam Chair, did you want to give more time to people that sign up ahead of time? We've done that in the past to encourage it.
Yeah, I
was-
think that makes sense. So what if you sign up ahead of time, up to 5 minutes, 3 minutes if you come day of hearing.
Madam Chair, I've got some thoughts to share here when you're ready.
Go for it.
All right, so the reason why I've had some heartburn about this is that the State Rules Act doesn't require a written comment period to go into the hearing. I don't want Rule 1915-310, second sentence, says a person shall provide written comments on the proposed ruling change to the commission clerk not later than the date of the scheduled hearing. So I've tried to read this a variety of ways. The State Rules Act is a superior piece of law to the rules, but this requirement would seem to be permissible under the State Rules Act. So it would mean we need to keep the record open for written comment through the date of the scheduled hearing. I mean, that's just the problem with this, is I think there's, because I tried reading this as meaning that not later than would mean it have to be submitted before, but I don't think before the scheduled hearing, I don't think that would work. I'm still torn a bit about it.
Yes, I agree with your information there, and perhaps what we could do is if we receive some late or day of incoming written comments, we could take a break, give ourselves some time to review those before we deliberate, and then go into deliberations that day.
I think that's a reasonable approach, Commissioner Bloom. Perhaps just point out that this might be something to look at deeper down the line to modify this verbiage. But yeah, I think that would be sufficient, because it doesn't, the OCC rules don't say the written comment period has to extend to that point. It just says that the commission needs to accept written comments
Can we
through the scheduled hearing date.
cap it at like noon? Can we say that the written comments need to come in by noon of that date?
We could, I mean, there would be room for argument. The day extends at least until the close of business. But it certainly would indicate, based on reading the rule, that written comments could be received that day. Doesn't put a fixed timeline on it. So setting it at noon, I think that it's doable.
Okay. Like doable or correct?
The problem we've got here is that if we parse down this language and just read it as it's black and white, the comment period would need to extend all the way through the close of the hearing, like close of the day. That poses a problem for deliberation, I think, and would result in some difficulties. Now, there's always the possibility of scheduling the deliberations for the following morning that can be continued. I mean, these hearings can be continued as needed. So if there was a need to kick this down the road a couple days, that would be doable as well. My concern is that if there's any comment that comes in after noon and somehow is not part of the record, then that upends the entire rulemaking, or could.
I mean, I don't think that it, like in the history of things that I'm just thinking of previous rulemakings, and we have not done it that way. I mean, it seems like cutting it at noon still provides.
And I think there are colorable arguments on all sides of this. If the commission wants to try or set the noon, set a deadline on the 17th of December, I'm fine. I can work with that.
Other commissioners, how are you on written comments till noon on the 17th?
Madam Chair, I believe there might be a little risk involved with that, as Mr. Melander has indicated. But given this is a technical correction, I think we'd be unlikely to receive written comment after that time anyhow.
And we're providing more than the 30-day timeline. Not to throw a wrench in things, but my computer is telling me it's going to restart itself in 10 minutes. And I don't seem to have any control or ability to tell it to not do that. I can, Mr. Moander, I can make you host.
Okay.
So maybe I apologize, but can we take like a 10-minute break and come back at like 9, because sometimes these take a bit, 9:55. Mr. Moander, I'm going to transfer the hosting ability to you, because otherwise everybody's going to get kicked off.
Understood. I'll happily accept it.
I apologize, guys. Can we come back in 10 minutes at 9:55?
Excellent.
Thanks.
Hey, what's up? Okay, I'm gonna put you on speaker while I do this. All right, so how does,
Go to participants
okay,
or attendees or something, and you should see me on the list of like attendees. Click on my name and say make panelist.
all right. Oh, yes. Boom.
Okay, I just did something.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Great. For some reason, I'm back, but I can't turn on my video. So, but can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can, Madam Chair.
Okay. It's not giving me an option to turn on my video, so. But I'm back.
And the audio is the key for you, Madam Chair, so you can hear and respond.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that. I don't know. The joy of computer restarts. Mr. Warnell, are you okay? Looks like you're there.
I'm here.
Sorry about that, everybody. We can get started again. It's 9:55. Miss Morganweck, are you good? Okay. All right. So I think where we were was basically lining out the procedural order. I think we agreed noon on the 17th for written comments.
I think that's correct, Madam Chair.
Okay. Any other items that we need to line out in this procedural order that we're missing at this point?
So, Madam Chair, when I was looking at some things, I'm not sure what else was discussed, but we've got customarily the technical testimony per section, and then I will need your help later on compiling the info about public comment, but that leaves non-technical testimony. So really just the witnesses at this point, because the position statements and all that are already, well, I could put those in as well, but I believe those are contemplated by the rules, so I don't know that that's necessarily needed, but I'll leave that up to you.
Well, so we have technical testimony, which would be the witnesses, and then non-technical testimony and oral public comment, and then written comment. I think we've done all of those.
If that's the case, Madam Chair, I'll confer with you after the hearing to collect all the particular, well, I'll collect that once the motion's made, and I'll supplement with requests if I need it.
Okay. Do we need to include all of those components in the motion?
Yes, Madam Chair, if we want them put into an order.
All right, great. Okay, then I might make a motion. That this let's see, case number
225.
Yeah. Yeah, 22225. That is set for a special meeting on December 17th, starting at 9 a.m. Public comment period will be open from November 9th through noon on December 17th. And those comments will go to the commission clerk at either her email address, the OCC email address, or the Wendell Chino building. From 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on December 17th will be a period of public comment. Commenters are asked to sign up with the commission clerk by 5 p.m. on the 16th. And if you sign up ahead of time for a specific time during that 9 to 10 p.m. 10 a.m. period, then you can have up to 5 minutes for a public comment. Anyone who shows up day of will be offered 3 minutes to make a public comment. And then public comments will be called once again before the close of the record. And that is my motion.
Madam Chair, did we want to address, maybe I missed it, did we address technical and oral non-technical testimony?
Shoot, we didn't set motion dates.
Right, and that's also, I'm anticipating there won't be any here, but probably ought to set those.
Yeah, you're right. Scratch all that motion. All right, what do we need? Probably a pre-hearing statement and then response dates.
The pre-hearing statement is outlined or the requirements for it, oops, and I just lost it, are set forth in, find the right 1915-311B1, 10 no later than 10 business days before the hearing. The pre-hearing statement needs to be submitted. We can extend that out. It just has to be 10 days. It looks like we've done up to 2 weeks to give parties a chance to do any sort of, I guess you could say, motion or reply to the pre-hearing statement. So we've got options here.
So it looks like what the pre-hearing statement would need to be due on the 3rd of December.
Let me think that sounds right. I mean, 17 minus 14. That'd be 2 weeks.
Okay.
So we could set a pre-hearing statement deadline of
12/3.
12/3. We could also have that set as a motions deadline as well.
We can set both on the same date.
Sure.
Okay.
And then responses only to those pleadings would be due on the 10th?
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
And then no replies?
Yeah,
Okay.
unless the other commissioners have other thoughts. Okay.
Chair, no, fine, thank you.
And
All right.
one addition that at 5 p.m. on both of those dates will be the hard deadline.
Okay. And we probably want to indicate, I think as previously we've asked for, your pre-hearing statement should have a summary of the testimony.
Which will address in particular the technical testimony.
Yes. Yeah, technical testimony. For the non-technical testimony, we have traditionally treated that and oral public comment the same.
Yes.
Okay.
So what I'll do, let's see. So the only thing would be, and this is sort of a caveat to normal oral testimony or non-technical oral testimony, is we've requested in the past or ordered in the past that exhibits that would be offered in conjunction with non-technical testimony be sent to the clerk. It looks like a day or two before the hearings. We could bump that out a little too, or we could stick with that.
Yeah, it seems reasonable if the hearing is on the 17th, maybe have that due by the 15th.
All right. At 5 p.m.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think this covers everything.
I think so. All right, I'm going to try this again. All right. I make a motion that this is set for hearing on December 17th at 9 a.m. The notice period will be from 11/9 through 12/17 at noon, when the commission will accept, will be the end of accepting written comments. From 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on the date of December 17th, there will be a opportunity for public comment. Anybody who wishes to sign up for a specific time during that 9 to 10 a.m. period should sign up with the commission clerk by 5 p.m. on the December 16th. If you sign up ahead of time, you get 5 minutes for public comment. If you do not and you come the day of the hearing, you'll still be given an opportunity, but there will be 3 minutes per commenter. Any exhibits that are in conjunction with non-technical testimony need to be turned in on December 15th by 5 p.m. to the commission clerk. And then all pre-hearing statements, including a high-level summary of the testimony, are due on December 3rd at 5 p.m. Responses are due on December 10th at 5 p.m. And there will be no replies. Is there a second to that motion?
Madam Chair, I so second.
Mr. Moander, would you do a roll call vote, please?
Absolutely, Madam Chair. Commissioner Bloom. Commissioner Warnell.
Approved.
Madam Chair.
Approved.
The motion passes. I will prepare this order and submit it for entry tomorrow. So the parties should get this hopefully sometime tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Well, that concludes, I think, matter number 4 on the agenda in case number 22225. Next item on the agenda is agenda item number 5, case number 21872, the application of Titus Oil and Gas Production for approval of production allocation, which was taken up in a special meeting by the OCC on September 28th. All right, I believe that there has been a final order that has been circulated amongst the parties. Mr. Moander, do we need to, give an opportunity to the parties to make any statements?
That's up to the commission. There was only one, it looked like there was only one sticking point. And I think that the commission's in a position to make its determination about that issue in the order, that conflict, and then proceed to, we'll enter the order, or you will enter the order.
Okay. So
Madam Chair, if I may interrupt.
Oh,
Commissioner Bloom, just so our court reporter is aware, I'm going to step aside to recuse myself, and Stefan Baca from the Land Office will take my place as the designee of the Commissioner of Public Defense.
And Commissioner Bloom, I'll ping you when this matter's over.
Thank you. I'll listen in.
Okay.
thank you for the reminder. Mr. Baca, are you there?
Good morning, Madam Chair. I am here.
Good morning. All right, great. Okay. So in the draft final order was circulated. I believe that the only sort of sticking point within this order was in paragraph 27, which discussed basically what the schedule was for drilling and completing the well, and when production could commence. In the order as was drafted, it was originally stated that the operator shall not commence production of Texas minerals from the well, and there was an additional or shall not commence production from the well until the interested parties have entered into a MOU basically between New Mexico and Texas. And so that did not exactly reflect what was in the transcript from the hearing. There really was no discussion about the potential of placing a plug in order to just produce the minerals from New Mexico. Basically, it was stated, the commission, I think, made it pretty clear within the record, particularly I think on page 140 and 141 of the transcript, that this well should not produce until an MOU has been entered by New Mexico and Texas. And there was not the discussion of reducing from just the Texas side and placing a plug there. So I believe that change was made to the order before it was finalized to recognize the commission's intent of not producing the well until an order was executed. I'm sorry, until an MOU was executed between New Mexico and Texas. Mr. Moander, is there anything additional? I think, what, do we just need to take a final vote?
Yes, I believe you can, or I'm going to advise that you vote on the order with paragraph 27 amended based on your description and explanation.
Is there a motion by the commissioners to approve the order with the amendments to paragraph 27 to reflect that the well should not produce until an MOU is executed between New Mexico and Texas, as was indicated in the transcript on page 140 and 141 as to the commission's intent?
Madam Chair, I make the motion that we accept the amended paragraph 27 as stated.
Is there a second?
Madam Chair, I second.
Mr. Moander, would you please do a roll call vote?
Yes, Madam Chair. Commissioner Baca.
Approve.
Commissioner Warnell.
Approved.
The motion passes, Madam Chair.
Wait, do I have to vote?
Oh, sorry. You're right, Madam Chair. Sorry.
I approve as well.
Motion passes. My apologies.
All right, thank you. I guess,
And-
are you going to circulate for signature?
So I circulated that the anticipated revised order, Madam
Okay.
Chair, so to you. So if that's satisfactory, I request you execute it and have it entered into the record.
All right. Will do. Thank you. With that, so agenda items number 6 and 7 were continued. Agenda item number 6 is continued to the November docket. Agenda item number 7 was continued to the January 13th, 2022 docket. Next item on the agenda is pending litigation. Are there any updates for the commission, Mr. Moander?
Yes, Madam Chair. The appellate case number A1CA 39578. I mentioned it, I think, at the last regular meeting, but at this point, we are waiting on appellant's brief in chief, which should be filed on or before November 15th, at which time we will draft our responsive pleading. Other than that, I am unaware of any additional litigation at this time.
Thank you. Is there any other business in front of the commission today? All right, well, our next meeting is on November 18th. And with that, it is 10:14 on October 14th, and we will adjourn the meeting. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Madam Chair.